US dollars. But they only wanted one thing. As Kcca, we were supposed to give them a recommendation letter that actually we needed help in that area. Where you don't have immediate funding from government, where you don't have immediate direction of how you are going to decommission, we could not leave that chance to move, to go unattended to. So as a result, we gave them a recommendation letter, and the money, the grant, was given to UN Habitat. Chair, you will note that the government of Japan, in some instances, does not give money directly to government. It gives to those entities. So there are many who bidded for that grant, and UN Habitat got it. When they got it, we sat down and looked at the report which we had for the cracks, for the leachate, for the flooding, and the slopes which were steeper and were a danger to the community. It covered an acreage of 7 acres. So we asked, this total land is 39 acres. How much can this grant help us to handle on the immediate risks? So the grant was only able to cover 7 acres. And what Honorable Kunyinji was bringing up, helping us to answer the immediate interventions we are doing on Kcca, that is why you are seeing UN Habitat now in Kcca. And they are using the Fukuoka method, Fukuoka method, which was used in Ethiopia when they had a similar collapse. So they are trying to manage those areas which proved to be more risky as we finalize the bigger procurement for whoever will come up to decommission the rest of Kcca.
Chair, if I may give a different version, yes, putting on different lenses to sum up this problem for you and for all of us. You see, the question you will ask in the wake of the disaster, did we have a plan, a worker plan? Yes, indeed, we have one. We had one. Did we have a budget? Yes.
Work plan was for us to bury the dead.
Not only that, Chair. We had a work plan. We had a budget. It was approved by Cabinet. And I have the breakdown here. If Chairman could dissect item by item, you'll discover where the mess lies, if I can supply this to the committee. Chair, this is a document dated 12th September 2024. This is, no, just one copy, one document. Different copies, yes, Chair. But I had requested for more. They are bringing more. Chair, it's dated 12th September 2024. As you said, the incident happened in August. Now, submission of the detailed worker plan of 16 billion to support waste management interventions in the Greater Kampala metropolitan area following Kcca's landfill disaster. It goes to the PSST. Who signs it? The Undersecretary Monica Edemachu. The breakdown is at the back, Chair. Now, when you look at the breakdown, A, support to interim operations at Katikoro Nkumba, dump site Mukono, the breakdown is there. Yeah. The subtotal is 4.4 billion.
Chair, procedure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair, I'm just concerned. I see the ED and the deputy noting down. I don't know that I have the copy of the document.
I had requested for more copies, Chair. You can see there are 4.
It was signed by the Undersecretary, Ministry of Kampala City and Metropolitan Affairs, with a copy to the Minister of Kampala, Minister of State for Kampala, and the Executive Director. So it is already copied to her.
Chair, there are 4 components there in the document.
And it was received by the Office of the Minister, by the Office Minister for Kampala Capital City, okay, a Minister of State, and the Office of the Executive Director. Proceed, sir.
Chair, there are 4 components there. One, the support, because you are asking for the report, what we did at those other alternative sites. Nkumba and Katikoro, the appropriation was 4.4 billion, which was approved by Parliament. Stabilization of Chitezi to deal with the imminent danger, 4.6 billion. Then partial payment commitment to land acquisition, 4.5 billion. Total 13.5 billion. But when you go back to the first page, Chair, the total amount was 16 billion. Now the Minister of Kampala was taking 2.5 billion. We questioned the appropriation of 2.5 billion first and foremost. What was the appropriation for? Chair, they indicated that this money was meant for sensitization, 2.5 billion.
By the ministry?
By the ministry. Sensitization. I have the documentation here. We said now you're going to sensitize who and what are you going to do. Up to now, this money has not been accounted for. What I can confirm, the 16 billion was approved
released
by Cabinet and released by the Treasury. Now, when it came to because now the Auditor General is talking about 4.9 billion. Initially, we were supposed to receive 16 billion. Now, 2.5 billion goes to the ministry. We are left with 13.5. You can see it on the top page here. We are left with 13.5 billion on the top page. What would come to Kcca?
Yes.
Now, finally, what came was 4.9 billion. Then we asked, where is this other money? Now, Chair, that's when the story of Jospongo comes in. They say, now, Jospongo, you got stabilization of Chitezi. The backup page, 4.6 billion. They said Jospongo is going to save us 4.6 billion. But meanwhile, it left the Treasury.
I am looking for the word Jespong.
No, it's about stabilizing Chitezi slopes.
So
there were questions coming in, Jespong coming in.
Wait. Because was this money going to Kcca or to the ministry?
Chair, as you can see on the top page here, there are two votes. Vote 23 and vote 122. We protested against this. We said it should be only vote 122.
Which is Kcca.
Which is Kcca that was going to deal with an emergency. We protested against that. Vote 23 had nothing to do with an emergency. Vote 23 for the ministry. So, this 2.5...
So, who is the accounting officer for
So
vote
now,
23?
Chair, I wanted to conclude this.
Before that, who is the accounting officer for vote 23?
The very signatory of this document. Emadochu, Monica, Ejua, the Undersecretary.
And on procedure, Chair.
No, just before that, Clerk, you will invite Madam Monica Ejua Edemachu.
Chair, I wanted to...
Yes.
I wanted to as a matter of procedure,
yes,
that as the personalities to someone, according to me.
Can we use the word invite?
To invite. I borrow your word, invite. But I'm more inclined to use someone.
No, because you're not going to summon.
As per the rules.
We shall invite.
Chair, I was recommending that we summon the state the Minister for Kampala. The Chair will rule. I've used the summon. The Minister for Kampala and State Minister for Kampala, because part of our concern was the State Minister has been making very concerning rhetoric over Chitezi landfill, threatening to build a wall, threatening to beat up the neighbors of the landfill. Very concerning rhetoric, and we also need to interrogate it. And here we are. The Lord Mayor is also making a revelation that he might have stolen 2 billion.
And
took it wherever he took it.
Honorable Nkunyinji Mwada, you know, these are our colleagues in Parliament. The Minister for Kampala and Minister of State are our colleagues. You cannot make the allegation of stealing. What we are doing is to find out how they used the money and the policy issues that relate to the matter. So let's use a language that is civil. I want to, and parliamentary, and I'm expunging the reference to stealing until we get the evidence. 2, I overrule you on the use of the word summoning. We shall use the word invite. And you know, when I overrule you, you don't insist on use of the language.
Chair, most obliged. But
So, Chair,
conclude.
My indication was that we invited them
Yeah.
to explain to us
The clerk is accordingly instructed.
their environment in all this. And lastly, Chair, when the Lord Mayor used the word the spong, it refers to that Ghana man I also mentioned.
Oh, that is the Ghanaian
man.
Okay, so the Ghanaian was, you were continuing. You will come in later, Honorable
you
Wakablindi.
see, the Ghanaian who owns a company called Jospong, and a delegation went to Ghana. It was comprising of the minister and the accounting officers then and some people. And they made a report. And that he was making a free offer, Good Samaritan, in the spirit of African brotherhood, to stabilize Chitez. Then we asked for this 4.6 billion for reallocation, that we do environment, it goes towards the compensation, if that's what had happened. What happens? When we ask for this environment, and also the 2.5, because the ministry failed to explain the use, we said all this should go towards compensation. Then, my brother here, who was the acting ED then, I wanted to conclude the statement. Who was the acting ED then, my brother here, Frank Arusa, generated this communication to the office of the Prime Minister. In the request, it is dated 22nd October 2024, through the minister, and say, request for the office.
1 page.
Oh, it's 2 pages.
Where is
I'll
this?
not read the whole. It's
No.
it's back.
You see, you cannot give me a document that is not signed.
It is signed. It is,
Where?
Oh, the back page.
I have no back page. I have only 1 page.
Oh, Chair, you can have this.
Yeah.
I don't know why they never photocopied the back page. Plus this other copy. I don't know why.
Secretariat.
So
Yes.
the issue is request for office of the Prime Minister to take over the compensation and the reallocation of the persons affected by Chitez West slide. He indicated that there are 4 categories of these people. 1, persons whose properties were destroyed and covered by the garbage. These ones I can confirm they were 24, but subsequently the number reduced to 18. No, these ones are 48. Persons whose properties were destroyed and covered by garbage. And as we speak, they are all in my office at Stewart, as we speak now.
They were the persons.
The persons whose properties were buried by garbage, they want answers. They are at my office at Stewart. From here, I'm going to meet them. Even after the proceedings
And
of last week.
Chair, for information, they slept at my gate, and now they are at Lord Mayor's office. They are not. They are demanding for compensation.
Okay.
So there were persons whose properties were destroyed to create passage for the rescue equipment.
Okay.
Those ones were 24. Now they are 18, and what we gather, some have been 18 have been compensated. 3, persons whose properties were submerged by the backflow of water due to blockage of the drainage channels. And finally, persons whose properties are to be affected by the 200-meter buffer zone to be created around Chitez. Then, the acting ED said, the purpose of this communication is therefore twofold. First, the second one is what is significant, important. Request the office of the Prime Minister to take over the process of identifying, validation, and compensation of the affected persons, given the experience and expertise in handling the disaster victims. Meaning that actually, as the institution of Kcca, were committed by the ED on this issue, that as far as compensation is concerned, it's the business of the Prime Minister. Yet, we were supposed to receive 16 billion. Now, the Prime Minister's office has not accounted for the balance, the difference between 4.9 billion that was remitted to us and the 16 billion that was appropriated. They have not accounted for it. So we needed all this to be interrogated. Up to now, we need to ask the office of the Prime Minister, after the Prime Minister herself,
where is our money?
Where is our money, exactly?
Wait. Colleagues, I think let's hear the version from our witnesses. Edie? On the Lord Mayor. Okay, you ask him.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chair. Chair, I've looked at this work plan which the Lord Mayor has given us that came with a demand of 16 billion. My first question is, were you part and partial of the planning of this 16 billion, bequest of the 16 billion, to know where 2 should go and 4 should go? Because even when I looked at the copies, you were not given a copy. And that's why I want to know, before you complain about the 2.5 that went to the minister or the Minister of Kampala, were you part and partial of the planning?
No, Chair, I would say no. Myself and the entire political leadership were not part of it, and I generated the communication to the office of the Prime Minister. I wrote to the Prime Minister complaining about the breakdown. Even the 2 votes, I insisted that it should be 1 vote with 1 accounting officer, vote 122, that the money should go to Kcca, not to the Ministry of Kampala. I protested against this.
Chair, the reason why I'm insisting with that question, maybe during the planning that you do not attain, the 2.5 was agreed by those who participated to go to the ministry. Or to
I am very conscious of the language you put on the record. I think sharing is out of order. No, the context is well understood. I am protecting especially those that are not here. Let's hear from Edie.
Thank you, Chairperson. The money we received on account for management of this emergency was 4.9 billion. And because of that, we had to repurpose and ensure that the emergency activities fit within the 4.9. That's why when you go to the table, which was mentioned by one of the members of the committee, you see that instead of paying 4.5 for land, we paid 2.4, and all other costs for Katikolo, Nkumba had it reduced to fit within what we had. We also wrote back to finance.
By doing that, were you efficient and effective? You planned for a certain amount, then you have to fit into a less amount, and then the rest of the money goes somewhere else.
Chair, I am not sure about where the rest of the money went, but what I'm sure of, that even when
if I ask you, you know the amount which was appropriated?
Yes, I
How
have
much
it on
was it?
paper. The money which was allocated to Kcca was supposed to be 13.5.
How much did you receive?
4.9.
Exactly, that's the point I am making. I know you're speaking as a civil servant, and you do not want to go into the murky waters of politics. That one I can appreciate and understand your civility. But from a factual perspective, yes, you can only explain what you received. And of course, nobody would blame you. We are in the process of trying to know where the rest of the money went. You proceed and explain what you received, then the others we shall find where it went.
Thank you, Chair. It is because you had already ruled about that, and the people are going to invite. So we had to fit within that, and that's why even for land we could not pay the full amount. The table against which we use this money is provided in the report on page 12 to 7. But the other thing I was responding to was the issue of the compensation. Chair, picking from where the Lord Mayor stopped, that letter went to the Prime Minister. In one of the meetings we had, we were informed that the Prime Minister's office was going only to handle the 24 whose houses were destroyed when they were trying to create an access to rescue people, and the other categories were not within their budget. And as a result,
within their budget of the difference between 13 and 4.9, or their ordinary budget?
the information we got is that for them, they are only concerned with those houses which they
Did
destroyed.
you have a response to this letter of Frank Rusa?
I do not have a response. It was in a meeting which we held.
Frank, was this letter responded to?
Honorable Chairman, it was not responded to.
Was there any follow-up thereafter?
I think if you could if I could easily be reminded about the date.
The date of your letter is 22nd October 24.
Mr. Chairman, I that issue with the Prime Minister.
See, but surely you were the one who wrote to the Right Honorable Prime Minister. Did you involve your ministers? Yes, I can see.
Yes.
I can see you copied in the minister. And now listen, Frank Rusa. You copied the Minister of State for Kampala. Where is the Minister for Kampala here? Why did you copy the Minister of State and not the Minister?
On the head, on the top here, it was through the minister.
Oh, it was through the minister.
Yes.
Okay. Did you discuss this as an authority? Because these are policy issues.
During this period of the Kcca, the aftermath of the Kcca disaster, the office of the Prime Minister, if you all remember, took lead of most of the Prime Minister herself was in the driver's seat of dealing with the responses. As Kcca, we had a number of meetings that we attended, and we could see that's the reason why what we did is to explain from what we saw who are the categories of affected and try to put it.
Then who took the decision that we should transfer responsibility? Because that's really not a technical issue.
No, we discussed it in our SMT senior management team, but we did not have conversation. We didn't have a number. We didn't agree upon it with Kcca at that time.
Why? It is their function. It's not yours. Then what drives you to take a policy decision? And I think this is what we've been advising you before. The reason now you're answering a hard question is because of the option you took. You took over an executive function. It's a policy issue. Anyway, you have understood what I mean. Okay, I think, colleagues, to resolve this, we shall have an invitation. We shall have a discussion, a conversation with the Prime Minister. We shall also have a conversation with the ministers, particularly the minister. When I invite the minister, I don't need to invite the Minister of State. On the issues raised by the Honorable Mwada with respect to the words that have been allegedly spoken by the Minister of State, really, we are not going to be guided by extraneous matters. We shall invite the minister and ask her to clarify on these matters, together with the person who is supposed to
Actually, him, not her.
No, the Minister for Kampala is the Honorable Minister Kabanda. All right?
Chair, what I want not to forget responding is the last bit of compensation of the victims.
ED, have you compensated the people who lost their dear ones and property in Kcca?
Chairperson, we had the evaluation team go to Kcca. They gave us valuation costs for 34 households whose property was buried by garbage. They have been doing an integrity test and analysis for the houses that flooded, the 70. The report is out. They are now going to commence valuation. They are also going to commence valuation.
Which report is out? Integrity one?
The integrity, because it has to be done. It had to be done by engineers, then given to them to do the valuation. Then for the 8 people who own the vacant land, which was buried, they are also doing the valuation of that. However, for the 34 where they have received released costs, I have since written to Ministry of Finance. I have had a physical discussion with the PSST, and I have generated a cabinet paper, which is already in cabinet secretariat, to seek approval for charging from the contingency fund.
Can you give us all those correspondences?
I can provide them, Chair.
Close of business today. Lord Mayor.
Chair.
Wait.
Chair, I have problems with this. You see,
Yes.
going to the PSST seeking authorization to charge the contingency fund and whatnot, when actually we had a budget and the money was released by PSST, that's where I have issues.
This money include money for compensation?
Chair, we had taken a resolution in the council,
Yes.
which we forwarded to the Prime Minister in regards to the 2.5 billion, and said should be part of the money for the compensation, the 2.5 billion. And when you hear the amount they are talking about, which is going to be on the from the contingency fund, it's around the same amount. I think it is 2 billion, 2.41 billion. That's what they are talking about.
Okay. I think that will be answered by the Prime Minister and her team and the Minister when they come here. Let me come back to my team. I'll start with the Honorable Naume. I see your microphone is on. Or you're just enjoying it?
No, no, I'm just getting puzzled from what I've been watching and hearing. And people losing their lives, but then the money is given, and some people are supposed to give it, they don't know where it is, and yet there are people demanding. So that is what has been.
So the question, Idi, these people who lost their houses, where are they staying? Are you paying rent for them? Because you can see how the amounts are going to become even more astronomical. For you are valuing the house lost. But since that time, somebody is supposed to sleep somewhere. Do you have an answer for that question?
Chair, what is supposed to be compensated and the ingredient of that amount is given by the Chief Government Valuer. However, for livelihood restoration, the amount you see here, the 145 million, where you asked for a list, those people were given money on their accounts and it was 1 million for livelihood restoration, but you also accept that it is not enough to keep them for all this period. So that was just an interim measure to help them have the
Who decided the 1 million for livelihood restoration? And what are the components of restoration? What do you restore? Go and buy a basin, go and buy a jerrycan, go and buy this and that?
The beneficiaries had discretion to use that money for what they needed at that time, but we agreed on that decision in SEC and management.
In SEC?
Yes.
Chair.
Lord Mayor, what informed your decision of 1 million in SEC for livelihood restoration?
Chair, it is the breakdown of the 4.9 billion after realizing that actually the entire amount had not been brought to us. For us, we took an arbitrary decision as the SEC initially that let's get 1 billion out of the 4.9 billion to commit it towards livelihood support. That was first the resolution. Then management came up with another proposal of 608 million. Subsequently, I think they found it difficult to implement that because it was around 600 million. Now, what we got finally is this 135. So in principle, we agreed on the livelihood support.
Yeah, I think the word
But-
support is more appropriate.
Yeah, it was just support because we realized that these people had been rendered to life of destitutes. They would come around, they are hanging around there.
Okay.
They were desperate, but it was not specifically 1 million, but that's what management could afford, I think. Yeah. That's what was available. But for us, we wanted even a higher.
Honorable Nsibambi.
Much for the opportunity. When you hear what is going on and the responses of the ED and what happened in Kcca, here we have a very big problem in this country. First of all the interactions the ED is talking about is talking with government bureaucrats, and she's also talking from a perspective as if you own these people's land and livelihood. If you have admitted and it's clear that there was negligence and there was a disaster, appropriately you should be now looking at proposals and requests for amounts that would definitely fit the circumstances. You cannot tell me you're giving me 1 million as livelihood. Maybe Mabugo, which has no real.
Mabugo has no statutory provision.
Yeah, but you are
I think
subjecting.
they paid Mabugo
You are
5
subjecting
million.
victims to a system which is really not moving. Chief Government Valuer, you come and value my land when I have nowhere to stay. So, Chair, I think maybe it will come out in our report. Government is really arbitrary. We're also looking at these vulnerable who have no access to lawyers, like Abdallah here, because they have no money, and the ED is putting up posters to welcome an individual at abdominal. So I think really we're also massaging Kcca too much.
Okay.
This is not your land.
Thank you.
You brought a monster. For us in law, we call it residence and pressure.
Thank you.
No, don't stop me, Chair. I'm an old man. Don't. Yes, let me talk. If not,
Please.
I can leave.
Let us please
Yes.
try to finish
There's
up.
what we call residence and pressure. Whoever brings a dangerous animal, you bring it at your own peril. So, you cannot just say, we talk to PSST, we talk to who? When our people are suffering because they are poor, they cannot talk. We are human rights lawyers. This thing of Kcca is not in your hands as individuals. No, you must explain why are you not giving adequate compensation for a wrong that you brought in the Middle East. Sorry, Chair, but this is, our people are suffering, everyone is suffering. And we look on and say, PSST is not the mother of this country.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, slightly close to that, we are aware about, according to the Auditor General's report, Kcca is equally grappling with the rising costs as far as legal issues are concerned. I want to know from the Director Legal whether these people, because it is clear these people must be compensated and appropriately, and they are supposed to be compensated more than yesterday. Have they filed any case against Kcca? No, we need to know whether they have filed any case against Kcca in respect of this issue, because it is another issue where we are seeing costs are going to keep on rising on a very clear issue like this, and who is going to be responsible?
Thank you. Lusa, can you answer that?
So up to now, there has been processes going on or talking about. I appreciate the urgency and the gravity of this issue. There have been engagements with the people of Kcca ever since this happened up to today. And in these engagements, there has been a commitment or some movement made towards compensation or discussions around compensation whether we're talking about government value, PSS, all these conversations, which have kept some hope in the people. They have been very patient. Of course, we can see that their patience has been stretched, but they have not yet been moved to reach a point of suing because they still have hope that there will be some results from this process.
Okay. This Baka. No cases. Baka.
Thanks very much, Chair. Chair, me, I'm not blaming cases, but I want to give you a word of advice. Ever since this incident of Kcca, the way monies have been requested is under emergency. For Dundu, for Boyala, for wherever. But when it comes to compensation of the victims, the word emergency ceases to be. It's more than a year now. And I think you need to quicken that process. And I was a member here who raised the issue that even this Buyala and others, are you taking them as dumping sites or landfills? That's also another question that is going to come. Because if we visit, we are going to visit Buyala, of course, and we are going to say you are dumping the waste there, and then we are going to ask the criteria, the difference between a dumping site and landfill. So let's work together. For us, we are not here to see the wrong side of your. We want to work as a team so that at the end of the day, we can solve the problems. And we want you to take all these questions that we are raising in good spirit, that we are assisting you. If it is team working, please work as a team. Yes, work as a team. Because at first I was the chair, I was saying that is the road mayor working together with cases or not? But now I've come to realize that I think he has a point. As a politician, you start infringing on his policy matters, just to say that he is also existing. So work as a team so that we can solve these problems. Because surely, 1 year, those people were, this small money which was given to them, and they are still settled by their relatives and friends. When are you going to compensate them? And now this word of sensitizing. By the way, we're going to be serious with the minister's chair.
Mr. Frank Rusa.
The word sensitization.
Wait. Mr. Rusa, access the microphone. At least I remain a member. You were a lawyer. Okay, through the chair who has refused to hand back the power. If I am a victim of what happened in Kcca, I lost my house, and I sued you today, would I be justified in asking you to pay the rent I have spent since that time?
Yes.
So by therefore delaying the payment, do you see how you are going to increase the astronomical costs of compensation?
That possibility is true. It's a real possibility. Yeah.
You know, did he teach you Ryland and Fletcher?
Yes, he did, and he has just reminded us about
it. He
it.
has just reminded you. At least he did not eat our money for free. You see the troubles that we are grappling with. Now, you write a letter on 21st February? No, not 20. October. 22nd October. You don't follow it up because they don't respond. I mean, because they are givers, they have the liberty not to respond because they feel, why is this one transferring their liability onto us? You are the principal offender in Kcca as Kcca. You are the tortfeasors. You want to seek refuge or to get assistance, and your sister keeps quiet, and you don't follow up. How do you want this committee to treat you or to take you?
Mr. Chair,
yes.
I really appreciate what you're saying and the counsel and caution are given to us by the Honorable Nsibambi. In that time, because Kcca was conceived as a disaster, a national disaster, the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness under Office of Prime Minister took a natural lead in dealing with it. They took it as a national emergency response. So in that time, our voices in this whole, the main voice was the Office of the Prime Minister. And all coordination government efforts around dealing with this disaster were focused on the Office of the Prime Minister. And so we realized that if we are going to help the people of Kcca get quick attention, what we are going to do, let us be advocates of who exactly has been hurt, how have they been hurt, submit these details to the Office of the Prime Minister.
Did you identify them?
Yes, this is the list. The people he quoted, that this number.
Give us that list.
That letter which you've just read through, which you've...
No. Now part of the report that we want, which has the list of people who are affected.
Yeah, I think the ED will pick up on that
That
one.
is the list. I think that's one we agreed you're going to give us.
That's
Okay. Okay. That's the additional information we want.
we will provide it, Chair.
Okay. Let Honorable Bakabulindi conclude.
Yeah. There is this item, sensitization. Whenever there is drawing of money for emergency, sensitization, it has taken billions. Not only this one we have seen of 2.5 billion. Chair, we would wish to know whom are they sensitizing? The victims, the technical people?
You're asking a good question to the wrong group.
The
people who took the money for sensitization are not here. You can't ask these ones.
We shall wait for them.
Yes. Okay, Lord Mayor.
I think I'm sorry, he might be having a point, because even the 4.9 billion, if you could look at that item 3 on the, it is there. 1, allowances for emergency response team. Now 2, cadastral plan. In the answer there, the answer that was given, the answer given by the ED, the one the deputy chair was reading, the breakdown the deputy chair was reading.
The response.
The response there.
The page 12, according to the enhanced.
You would see in the 3rd row. Cadastro, the next one. Yes, community sensitization stroke public awareness. That is 61 million. I just wanted to be honest that even in the little we received, there was that component. And for us, we are still handling it internally. I don't want to argue it here with my dear sister, because this is still under consideration internally. But the bigger picture of the 2.5 billion is what we are really interested in.
Why I said so is because the Honorable Kabulindi was talking about specifically the 2.5 billion and the other cases which he said are not here. That whenever there is a disaster, there is a component for sensitization. We are curious to know the sensitization that would cost Ugandans 2.5 billion.
Okay.
That one we will ask the appropriate people.
Now, the other issue, Chair, I wanted to make a humble request in light of the Honorable Bakabulindi's counsel is giving us. I can see the dilemma there is this side. The ED has explained to you that we are seeking authorization from PSST to charge the contingency fund. But I'm afraid we may not succeed, and we may give false hope to the victims of Kcca that processes are underway, yet money may not be forthcoming. Why? Because following the letter by the acting ED then of 22nd October, OPM and Finance took steps to implement what had been communicated.
Oh, okay. How?
And money, by releasing money to OPM for compensation. So they cannot, the PSST who authorized release of money to OPM for compensation will find it difficult to release more, to authorize us to charge on the contingency fund when there is already a fund in the OPM.
Do you have a communication from PSST to that effect?
Not from PSST. We are privy to what is being discussed there. We are privy. We have that information. And we are asked, and I wanted to be honest with you.
Yes.
So, and I wanted to ask if we are to help the victims of Kcca to unravel that expeditiously, because the ED is going to hit a dead end with this process of seeking consent from the PSST. We are going to hit a dead end.
In the first place, why would it be given to resort to the contingency fund if money has been released? Now, the money was released to... Okay.
Chair.
Okay.
Allow me to come in.
Honorable Okupa.
Chair, don't you know that they jump the queue sometimes? So the queue has been jumped. Chair, this one I'm finding a bit of contradiction. Because earlier on, a letter was read here saying we don't have the technical capacity. We are passing this thing to Office of the Prime Minister. The money was also passed there, but now we are seeing Kcca writing to PSST for the country, for the
requesting authorization to resort to the contingency
Yet
fund.
the people whom they gave the powers and the money was passed to have not given accountability of that money which they have got, because the 13 minus 4.9. I'm just finding a contradiction now that Madam Edie, that shouldn't have been the office of the Prime Minister that was responsible, who should be now following up this matter if the money which they got was not enough.
On the Cooper, we have already guided that we're going to have an interface with the OPM.
I agree with you, but I was just having that because now it's the ED was now saying you have written to PSST regarding that matter. But I also would want that letter, the one she has written. We want to have a look at it.
Maybe yes.
That letter you wrote to PSST and
when
it was written. And when it was written.
Just give us that letter, and we will not be required to answer the rest.
Because we want these people to be helped. We shall not stop at even OPM or the ministers, even PSST. We should be able to summon.
It's not only about helping those people. It is about accountability. We want the person.
I thought that one is a given. That's why I was bringing that
comes
aspect.
first.
Yeah. Because it's a given.
Honorable Mzale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, if I have listened very well, the reason for the delays for compensation, one of the issues was to do with the government valuer. Government valuer has not issued his values, so as Kcca said, they can't proceed.
They can't pay because they don't have the money also.
Mr. Chairman, even when they have the money, they can't pay because government valuer's report is not there.
Under which law? Under which law? That for you to be compensated for your property destroyed, there must be a government valuer's report.
Mr. Chairman, unless the Honorable Yusuf Nsebambi is not in this government.
No.
It's not.
Otherwise.
No, I think orderliness would still require that. Otherwise, we would be asking them.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group, HGO brand, has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now